are about to enter a world of true crime. From cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, everybody. Crime crew, what's going on? So, May 13th is not the trial date, but we're going to talk today. So, I was talking to Millie, who's one of the advocates, and hello today, everybody. Today, we are talking about Madeline Soto. We're talking about Madeline Soto, and anybody that wants to email me about it and talk further, or you have anything, I was trying to get the link to the t-shirts, and the t-shirts are on sale now. They're a really good price. They're $14.99, but shipping's a little bit. We are kind of talking about that. We're talking about the pre-trial, which is tomorrow, everybody. The pre-trial is tomorrow, but I want you guys to know a lot more things before that happens. So I'm saying hello to everybody. I'll talk to you guys in chat. Let me put this on for a minute so you can see where I'm coming from before I talk about it and tell you what's going on behind the scenes. All right, so we're going to remember Madeline today. We're going to keep her in the spotlight, and I'm wondering why people aren't talking about this more. I have things to show you, things to go over, and behind the scenes content as much as I can possibly share. So let's listen to this for a minute. All right, it's talking about the trial date, and it's talking about the first hearing that Stephan Sterns did not show up for.
In the death and disappearance of a 13-year-old girl, Madeline Soto was found dead in a wooded area in St. Cloud. Stephan Sterns has not been charged in her death, but will stand trial in May for dozens of child sex charges. Channel 9's Daryl Matthews has covered every development in this story. And Daryl, Sterns is due back in court next month.
Yeah, Martha, April 2nd, to be exact, will be his arraignment date, April 24th, pre-trial, and the trial May 13th. And now the state attorney's office tells me...
All right, did you hear that? Let me back up a little and play it on regular speed. So he went really quickly. People aren't talking about it for some reason. I have paperwork with the charges filed. There's a witness list. Lots more, everybody. Let's listen again.
His arraignment date, April 24th, pre-trial, and
Pre-trial.
the trial May 13th. And now the state attorney's office tells me that those are set arraignment dates unless they're waived. And in this case, Sterns did waive that date, and those were the next court dates picked by the court system. He's sitting in a jail cell right now, and if convicted of child sex crimes he's accused of, Stephan Sterns could spend the rest of his life in prison, regardless of what happens in the investigation into the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto.
I don't think this case is going to go. And if the murder charges are added, you're going to be a year and a half, 2 years away before this case comes to trial.
Stephan Sterns, the prime suspect in the disappearance of Madeline Soto, is the boyfriend of Soto's mother. He was the last person seen with a 13-year-old. In May, he'll stand trial not for her disappearance, but rather dozens of sex crimes.
If the defense is not ready for trial, which I don't think they will be, at that trial date, they're going to move to continue to give them more time to examine the evidence.
So far, investigators have examined enough for the state's attorney's office to charge Sterns with 60 counts of sexual battery on a child under 12 and lewd or lascivious molestation. Sterns has not been charged in Maddie's death, as law enforcement continues to investigate and has yet to charge anyone.
They're waiting for all of the evidence to come in so they can carefully look at it, analyze it, and make an informed decision as to the murder charge.
Now, former Chief Judge Belvin Perry presided over the Casey Anthony case. He says right now he's commending law enforcement for taking their time to go through evidence and DNA to find out how Maddie died, taking out anyone who's not involved in her murder, and holding the person responsible without making any mistakes. We're live in Orlando. Daryl Matthews, Channel 9 Eyewitness.
All right. He is in Orlando, everybody, and the case is happening in, let's pull this up. We're going to look at the state of Florida versus Michael Stephan Sterns. while I pull this up so you guys can actually see it. It's labeled witness list. I obviously don't want to show any witness names, so I'm not going to do that. Every time I do the Stephan Sterns or Madeline Soto case, I want you to know I get doxxed because it's an SA. You know what that means. It's SA, and everybody's going to use that word a whole bunch of times. So I'm not trying to censor it, but I also don't like being doxxed by YouTube, and I don't want to not be in the algorithm for one reason. And the one reason is nobody's talking about this case today. Nobody's talking about the pretrial. I don't know why. I did my research before the show started, and I was wondering, wow, shouldn't we all be like, oh, we want to be there if we can. We want it televised. I wanted to team up with somebody that can stream it, and we could do it together. We could talk, but there's nothing going on, and I don't know why. But I do know that there's a good possibility that Stephan Sterns is going to waive his right to appear tomorrow if they do have it, which means he doesn't have to be there, everybody. He doesn't have to be there. And yeah, there's a notification. Some of the YouTubers are talking about things, but they're not talking about that. So, nuns. It's very odd that no one's talking about it, but we are. I want to talk about Maddie today. I want to tell you what we think happened. I want to solidify to you what I think happened. I want to tell you, I can't tell you names or what, any of that, the details, but it will come from me. Okay. I'll be the person that says it. I think that they're working on Stephan Sterns. I think they're working on him in the fact that they are playing with his emotions and saying, we know you loved Maddie. We saw you crying. We saw Jen consoling you. We know you took care of her all these years. And I don't think that Jen loves her as much as you do. I think that she came home and something happened and you're covering up for her. Now, this is what I think happened. I think they're working on Stephan to flip on Jennifer, and it hasn't happened, or they just don't have enough evidence yet, or maybe he's not talking. Now, I agree he should be made to face people, but why is there a witness list? Who would be a witness in this case? Let me look at this. Let's zoom in a little bit. All right. And I'm not going to name names. Let me make this myself a little smaller so you can see this. So there is a witness list, everybody. All right. State of Florida versus Stephan Michael Sterns. And it's the courthouse of Kissimmee, Florida. It says the names and addresses of all persons known to the prosecutor to have information that may be relevant to any of the offense charges or defense or any similar facts to be presented at trial pursuant to Florida's law. All right. And then I'm going to stop when it says see attached witness list. All right. The list of witnesses is not necessarily limited to the names, those named, but also includes any witnesses mentioned in the material made available for the defendant's discovery. The undersigned assistant attorney, and it's all legal jargon, has initialed yes for each subparagraph listing the items in state's possession or control. The same are available for your inspection, copying, testing, etc. All right. So there's a witness list. Who's on the witness list, everybody? Yeah, I'm not gonna go any further. I'm gonna show you this here. There was Carly's name real big. Look at the case number. So I have Jess in here. Jess should be here. Anyway, Jess is here, and there's a lot of people that are here that do research. You can look up that case number and certainly find out who the witnesses are. There was also a witness change. And when I said a witness change, guess what? The first thing that came out of somebody's mouth was, I bet you they have Jennifer Soto on there. How could Jennifer Soto not be on the witness list, everybody? Tell me that. How could she not be a witness? She was there that night. She says Madeline went to sleep. And then she says she saw Madeline waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning and going to school. She lived there. She was there for all of the years that was happening. She was there when things were being filmed. She was there with the pictures. She was there. All right. You forgot what they were. I'm not sure if we're talking about the actual charges. We're going to remember Maddie, but I'm also going to play videos. We're going to talk about the charges. I'm going to try not to be so brutal in saying them because I don't like to get doxxed and then I don't get to be in the algorithm. In my opinion, she's the one that unalived her, we're going to say, so we can try to get out there. We want this out there so that we can get more content. People can call me, email me, and tell me what they know. I heard a lot about what I know today, and that's why I'm late. I had a long conversation with one of the advocates today, and I got an earful. So I'll give you my announcement in a little bit, and we'll keep talking about this. And you guys tell me in the chat if you think that the pretrial is going to happen tomorrow, and they're going to make Stephan Sterns go, and they're going to make Jen Soto show up, and they're going to start the pretrial promptly, and that they're going to not only start the pretrial promptly, but that they're going to actually hold on, that they're going to actually get going with what they should be. All right. So let's watch this. Let's talk about the charges. Let's talk about, do you think Stephan Sterns is going to get the DP for this? All right. What do you think? All right. Let's watch this. We'll chat. This gives me an opportunity to chat with you and try to find the link for the t-shirts. We need you all to support and buy a Madeline t-shirt.
Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time and that Stephan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stephan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26th. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Sterns returning to the complex and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
Welcome back. Despite all that evidence that he's laying out, still no murder charges in this case for Stephan Sterns. All the charges that he's facing now, 60 counts, are all sex abuse and child.
Yeah, we already went out the window with those words that Vinny used, but I want you to know that what we're talking about today is, do you think he's going to get the DP? It's on the table. Do you think they're bargaining with her? You heard the timelines, guys. Do you think they have Jen being home at the time when Stephan was there and all the in-between things? What do you think they have behind the scenes? Because they got a card up their sleeve here. There's a trick.
Child sex abuse on his phone that's recorded. Look at this massive list. But I want to specifically look at one area of these charges, which are very significant, especially now in the state of Florida. Sexual battery on a child under 12. 8 counts of that, okay? Significant. The other counts are significant as well, but that's the most significant. Why? Because of a brand new law down in Florida, which went into effect on October 1st of 2023. A person 18 years of age or older, Stephan Sterns, who commits sexual battery upon or an attempt to commit sexual battery injures the sexual organs of a person less than 12 years of age commits a capital felony. It's now a potential death penalty for the sex crimes in Florida for someone under the age of 12, the victim. And you look at this, goes back to 2019 now, right? Clearly under the age of 12.
All right. So if it goes back to 2019, let's do our math. It's 2024. That means 5 years. She was 13. That means she was 8, right? 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I have to always count my fingers. All right. Let's keep listening. But what do you think? It's a domestic violence. Okay. Do you think Jen Soto is on the witness list? Do you think she's going to show up? Do you think Stephan Sterns is going to show up tomorrow? Do you think the trial is going to happen on May 13th?
Going all the way to 2022, still under the age of 12 in 2022 in the summer. Now, here's the problem. The law went into effect in 2023. So is this a potential death penalty case just for the sex abuse charges? Let's bring in the think tank. Joining us live in studio tonight, criminal defense attorney, entertainment attorney, former assistant DA in Atlanta, Daryl Cohen. Also with us tonight, criminal defense attorney and Emory University law professor, Molly Palmer. And finally, family law attorney and law professor at Emory University, Randy Kessler's with us. So it's Daryl and the professors tonight. Great to see everyone. Can you punish someone for conduct back in 2022 and 2019 with a law?
Now, this is going to surprise you if you don't know this answer. I think you might be surprised about what he's saying and why they're taking so long and what they're doing, what the strategy is, and if he's going to have to be there. All of the answers are going to be here, and I'm going to give them to you today.
All that was passed in 2023.
I would hope so, but the answer is no, and that's spelled, unfortunately, it's called ex post facto. No.
You don't think it's
he deserves nothing less and nothing more.
I understand what he deserves. I want to know what the law is first.
Law, in my view, no, because you cannot pass a law regarding something that took place before and prosecuted.
Even if it's just a punishment?
So here's the issue. The law actually is unconstitutional because in 2008, there was a United States Supreme Court case, Louisiana versus Kennedy. It was a 5-4 decision wherein the court analyzed the interplay of the 8th Amendment, the prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment, compared to the 10th Amendment, the state's rights to legislate. And they said, if there's not a death or an intent to do death, kill somebody, then you cannot impose the death penalty. The fact that Florida has enacted this law is one thing. I mean, legislatures all the time enact unconstitutional laws. I do believe that this law will be found unconstitutional as it has been before. I also think this is going to be a murder case, and that then will make it a capital
Right.
felony.
That gets, so the sex crime is not going to do it. You agree, Professor Kessler?
Molly makes law professors look good.
Yeah, they're only going to be able to go back so far, everybody, and they're saying that now. It's the law. We're not lawyers. We don't live in Florida. Maybe some of you guys know the law. There's only so far they can go back. That's why they're doing the 2-year mark, and they're trying to use as much ammunition. Now, Jen should be charged, in my opinion. I think every single person that's on my, so to speak, side that I've been talking with actually thinks that Jen walked in and she did something, and that she was also jealous the entire time of her daughter.
Doesn't she? She's exactly right. So on 2 counts, he loses. The law is unconstitutional, and it's ex post facto. We get to use those fancy words we learned in law school. Can't declare something illegal after it's already happened and then convict somebody of it.
Okay, so on 2 different grounds, we're saying this might be a problem to try to get a death penalty from the sex crimes. Okay, Daryl, everyone's asking, why hasn't he been charged yet?
Because at this point, at least in the state attorney's office eyes, they don't have enough evidence to where they're circling. Believe me, they're looking at DNA, they're looking at every piece of evidence they can possibly find. And when they have enough, because he's incarcerated, he can't go anywhere. All he can do is go get his meals, go to the cafeteria, maybe. They'll charge him, but they want to wait because they can wait. It's not as if he can disappear, flee the country, flee any place.
A lot of people scratching their heads because, in the initial press conference, they're saying, we believe her dead body's in his car.
Belief is not tantamount to proof.
Right. And I think in this case, it's strategically smart for the state to charge him with 60 plus additional felonies for which he's facing life in prison, because people want to know. They want to know the specifics. And sometimes investigation doesn't get you there. So now you have leverage. You can sit with him and say, look, you're facing life either way. I haven't charged you with capital murder. Tell us what happened. And at that point, perhaps.
And honestly, I think they're doing that and he's not talking, but I also think that they are, that they're playing on his emotions and telling him, we know you loved her. We know she was young, but you grew to love her. And they're playing that. There's a guy involved with this. There's an investigator that's a man that says, I've been there when I was older. I could understand falling in love with a younger girl. Maybe I was 18 at one point. There was a 15-year-old. They're playing on him and they're trying to play sides with him. And Jen's not talking or budging, everybody, but Stephan's in the spotlight right now. For all you new folks that are here, please hit that like button, subscribe if you can, and let's get in the algorithm because I need your guys' help. I need other people's help to stream this trial.
There are some unanswerable questions at this point that resolve all of these things we're wondering about.
Well, a lot of people also wondering about the mother, Randy.
Well, the mother. Well, first of all, the father, he might wish.
He's not the father.
The boyfriend. The stepfather,
she called him the stepfather. You're a family law guy, so you know better than all of us. But apparently.
This hit a nerve with Jenny. He's not the father and he's not the stepfather. That really hit a nerve, and it's hitting a nerve with with Mr. Politan.
The mother referred to him as Madeline's stepfather. We don't know what Madeline called him because she's not with us.
I'm sure she called him
Predator.
I don't think they were. I don't think they were married, but there are rumors that maybe they did get married. I don't know.
But back to what I was saying, he probably would be wishing for the death penalty. You don't want to be in jail forever with the conviction of those crimes. So back to that, he might say, please give me the death penalty after this trial. But yes, the mother, that's strange behavior. Why is she not out there telling the whole world everything she knows, talking to the cops, saying, I mean, she
might be. We don't know. We don't know where she is, by the way.
But remember, if she does, she may put herself in very deep yogurt.
Well, what kind of potential problems could mom have here?
I mean, the way that she behaved during the press conference, I thought was strange from the beginning, right? There's no tears with either of them. She said a few things that I found to be very, off-putting. So if she is complicit in terms of the murder, these charges also can serve as leverage against her. A good lawyer can say.
What do you mean by complicit? What sort of action?
If she knows about the murder, but is not involved in the production of child sexual exploitative material or the sexual batteries, then now she can become a source of information to implicate him, who is seemingly more egregious in his behavior. If she has any involvement in the killing of her child, now those unanswerable questions can be answered through her, and he can be prosecuted.
What defines involvement? Where's the line between knowledge and involvement? Because a lot of people talk about this concept of turning a blind eye.
That's exactly what you may have done.
It's also different when you're a parent. You have a duty to take care of a child, and child endangerment means you're responsible for a child. You got to.
All right, so this says it all, guys, ladies, people. This says it all, what they're talking about. And she's not just culpable for being a parent that didn't pay attention. She's culpable for a lot more. Everybody that I know believes that. And remember, the people that I know are right there in that town. They're right there at that vigil. They're right there at that memorial. They're right there servicing that memorial. And they're right there talking to the family. Okay. They see the family that is not there. They see the family that's there. And I know so much more than I can tell you. I want to tell you so bad, but I can't. The court hearings, I don't know if they're televised or going to be recorded, but this is what I'm going to talk to you about after this video plays.
Protect the child. If it's your child, then I know something's going on. That's different. Do I have a duty to intervene? Less so than if it's in my household. I've got to protect my child.
So does the knowledge get you to murder?
Yes,
Parties to a crime, conspiracy.
Absolutely.
She may not have done anything other than see, feel, or hear what's going on, but clearly, in my view, she can be charged with and convicted of murder if the evidence is there that she knew what was going on.
Not doing anything physically to take the life, not doing anything to sexually abuse her own daughter, but knowing that it's going on and knowing that the murder took place can wrap her up in the actual murder charges?
Accessory after the fact, if she did anything in terms of trying to cover it up. And certainly deliberate ignorance is no defense. You don't get to turn a blind eye under the law. And the jury is often instructed on that very provision. So yes.
It might be an option for him. If he wants to lessen his sentence, he might say, Mom was holding the camera. Mom was involved. Mom knew about all this. You don't have anything on Mom. I'm going to give you Mom on a silver platter.
Listen to this. Now, he's not saying that, but they're coming at that angle to him. And they're trying to get him to break since he's the only one that is in custody and the mom's not talking. Now, this is a little extreme. Maybe she was holding the camera, but Jen Soto is very insecure. And I know this from people that know her and know her family and know that she had abandonment issues. Her abandonment issues were that of a boyfriend, and she couldn't keep a boyfriend, and she wanted to. And she was using Maddie as a way to bridge that gap from Stephan Sterns not breaking up with her. This is my utter deepest belief.
Give me something in return. You never know what's going to happen.
Inactive participant, she can still be charged, she can still be convicted, and the two of them can play one another, each can play one, and they can go down together.
All right, let's talk about something else that's a big part of this case. All of these images, hundreds of images, and they're all connected to the charges, right? The first 20 counts, there's images of all of them that he's being charged with. And
remember, everybody, there's bestiality in those charges as well. So there's that, meaning they have other things in the background that they see. They're picking up on a lot. They're picking up on who's holding the camera, any voices they have, any objects that were used. There's a lot in this.
How far do you think this investigation will go in terms of trying to figure out if there's connections to anyone else?
I mean, I wonder if the feds are going to get involved. If you actually have a production case, which I think has been hinted at, I mean, is this just possession of child sexual exploitative material, or is he producing it? I mean, those are typically cases that the FBI gets involved with. And then they start seeing, you know, like you said, how far did it go? How nefarious is this conduct? Is this being sold and disseminated on the World Wide Web? These are questions that I think the feds would like to answer. Or perhaps it stays in Florida and maybe it is something that was limited to their home and you know, just the child and not being shared amongst other people on the internet.
Too bad the victim isn't here, right? That's the sad news. You're not going to ever hear testimony. You don't have any forensic interviews. It's all hindsight. It's all circumstantial. It sounds like they got a heck of a lot of circumstantial evidence to put him away, but Molly's right. If there are other players, other people that participated or benefited or profited.
Do you think there's more images somewhere?
Absolutely. It ain't over till it's over. There are more images somewhere, and they're not going to go away. Sort of reminds me of a case having to do in Fulton County. Nothing happened until it did, and the more it happens, the more expansive it becomes. If they find a person or persons who bought the porn, and they can prove him or her to have bought it, he or she can be also charged federally.
Is information like that something that his attorney would ask him about? Can it be used in some strange way as a bargaining chip? Not just to go after mom, but let's say there is some connection to some larger ring here.
I mean, you don't have to ask him because our technology, computer forensics, is so in depth that we're going to find out if there is more. Like, you know, didn't he say he had to?
She's right. Computer forensics is involved, but if he was using that the Telegram app, they're not going to be able to trace that back, unfortunately, to where it was going and who it was going with. But they know a lot of things were happening inside of the household, everybody. And yes, only one charge, but one charge too many on that bad word I just said a minute ago.
Reset his phone. I reset my phone. He made
the accidental factory reset. Accidental.
So, you know, people don't realize that there are all these files. If ever you possess them, deleting them or resetting your phone doesn't do anything. And so they're going to do a more thorough forensic imaging of all of these devices. And typically somebody who engages in this behavior, one of the hallmarks of this conduct, usually, you know, you are a collector, right? If you are this type of person. And so, yes, there could be a lot more that remains to be seen.
And Vinny, yes, could he implicate somebody else to get a better benefit for himself? Yet, not just who he sold it to. What if somebody was pulling his puppet strings and saying, listen, here's how you do it. Here's what we want. Here's what sells. And there's somebody bigger than him, a bigger fish that they can catch. Then you're onto something. Then he's going to get a deal. He's going to get less than he would otherwise get.
Does he want a deal? As pointed out earlier.
Or does he want to live on death row
because he'll be more protected? Absolutely.
One final question. And a lot of people want to know this. Does he get to see those images again as an accused?
No, that's not how that works. So
he's not allowed to see it?
No, you cannot disseminate this type of discovery to your client. So what the attorney's responsibility.
What happens during the trial?
So the attorney has a responsibility to, you know, assess quantity of images, types of images, whether there's sadomasochism involved. And so you have to go to a controlled setting where in a federal agency.
Yeah, sadomasochism was involved heavily in the document that I'm not going to read again, but you can see the item scrolling by. We're going to talk about it again. It doesn't mean that it wasn't involved. And there was a lot of things that were involved that he was doing to that poor little girl, Maddie. And nothing's off the table here, everybody. They have a big case on their hands.
Or an agent from the state shows you what's before.
And only show it to the lawyer. What if he wants to represent himself?
Wait a minute. If we have a trial, he is going to see each and every image
at trial will come out
by the state.
Right. Not in discovery, at trial. A lot of people want to know that.
All right. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that aren't.
Our detectives have
that haven't happened yet and that we don't know. But I'm telling you what I do know as a person that can talk and is not behind the scenes, but I'm only allowed to say so much. And what I am saying is what I do hear. And I do know that the family of Jennifer Soto is not cooperating. They're not involved. The aunt is there, but they're all backing Jennifer Soto for some reason. And the reason I do know is that there was SA going on with her as a child. So I believe in my heart that her dad SA'd her, we'll just say assaulted her. And that's why he was buying her condo, and the mom was real quiet about things and she didn't tell anyone. All right, let's look at this real quick. Now, I'm going to tell you here, I talked to one of the advocates today. Let's look at the jury trial. It says 5/13. That is a month. It's less than a month from today that there's a jury trial. They have the courtroom assigned, okay? Tomorrow is the pre-trial. Now, Stephan Sterns could waive his right to be there, but is it going to happen? All right. So his initial appearance was on 3/2, which was a Saturday. He did not show up. All right. 4/2, he was arraigned. It's been crickets. So we got the dates, 4/24 and 5/13. Keep that in mind. Now, I called one of the advocates today, and she told me, I don't want to book a room for you because tomorrow is probably going to change. All right. Tomorrow's probably going to change. Oh, you're making me blush. Tomorrow's probably going to change, and we don't want to book a room or do anything. So tomorrow I'm going to be all over it. I work, but if there's a pretrial, I guarantee you I'm going to come and I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing and I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to bring updates to you and we're going to work it all out together. But May 13th, right? Is it May? We're talking about May 13th is probably going to get postponed, and I can't really book things. So what I'm going to do, everybody, I want you to know real quick from me, my roof fell into my ceiling fell into the house, and the rain from being moldy for a while caused asbestos. I have a construction crew here and they keep postponing. So that week I'm going to have the construction crew here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the day of the 13th and be covering the trial. I'm going to have somebody at the trial. They can get a ticket if the trial happens and they can get in. We're going to be reporting and we're going to be streaming. I'm going to give you guys the entire day. So May 13th, I won't be able to go to the trial, and I don't even know that it's happening. I called today to talk about booking tickets to get me a hotel, and they said, wait up. We don't know that's going to happen. Now, I can't live on what ifs and trying to fix what I have. But yeah, I have such a mess, and I have a mess here, and there's a mess in court, and there's going to be a mess tomorrow if that doesn't happen. If the pretrial doesn't happen, now we're in a more of a mess, and nobody's talking about this case. So I want you to see the outstanding, they got a, let's see, they got the public defender application. I want you to see that there was some amended information. Let's see if you can see it. And then I'm going to pull up the charges and I'm going to scroll in as far as I can, but I'm not going to talk about them because I don't want to say those words out loud and then not be able to get the algorithm. So I want somebody to talk to me that's streaming. I want somebody to call me or email me that has access and can collaborate with me from afar. If not, then the advocates are going to do it, and they're not professional photographers. Okay. So we're going to do the best we can. Delphi trial starts that day. Yes, you're absolutely right. It starts that day. And for some reason, Delphi is trumping this case. We cannot let it trump this case. Okay. All right. So yes, Adam Montgomery has to be at his sentencing. And I really hope that Stephan Sterns has to be there tomorrow. And I really hope that, they don't postpone it tomorrow, but I'm all over it. I wanted you to know the pretrial's tomorrow. Let's look at what happened here. All right. So 325, they had a notice of a provision of supplemental discovery. So all of these discoveries on 325. And then on 410, the notice of intent to rely on certified records, probably documents they found or got from the one of the forensic people that are going through the phones and the material. And then there's amended information here on the 14th. All right. So there's also an amended witness list, which we're thinking that they're amending it. How many witnesses? Honestly, use common sense and knowledge and tell me how many witnesses you think can be in that trial or at the pre-hearing or any of those. How many witnesses are going to be in that house? I hear that there may be a person that was living in Jen's house that was, I'm going to pull up another one that was from out of the country and couldn't on the paperwork say that they live there. Now, before I pull up the next document, do me a favor. We had 260 in chat. We're down to 231. People are popping in and out. Hit the like button for me. If you don't like it, that's fine. Don't hit it. But if you like it, hit it so we can get our count up and get in the algorithm. MFAR says that sucks. Yeah, you have so much going on. So cover Maddie's case, it's dedication, fix your roof. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. But I'm not going to make you wait. I'm still going to be here. I just won't be able to go to Florida. It's like a 2-day of travel thing that might not happen. And I'm telling you now that it might not happen tomorrow, everybody. So let me pull up this next document. It's huge. It's a huge document. I can't even see it here. Okay, there it goes. Oh my goodness. All right, let me share it. And I'm not going to really talk about it. I'm just going to show it to you because the charges are outrageous and they gave me nightmares and I don't want to give you nightmares. It's not something you should hear. 100 likes, stomp, stomp, stomp. We have 237 people consistently in here. Please do that. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you found me on the live. Carly, I wish he would plead tomorrow. I hope he pleads tomorrow. I need something to happen tomorrow. At all. I need something to happen tomorrow. We all need something to happen tomorrow. Maddie needs something to happen. The advocates are waiting by. The advocates aren't sleeping. Let me tell you right now. They're just 24/7 thinking about this case. Remember, they're with the family. They are hanging out when they're in town. When Tyler and Tatiana are in town and all the other members, they're literally advocating, counseling them, cleaning the memorial. They're doing anything and they're spending money out of their pocket, guys. So we need to buy t-shirts. Millie, lovely Millie, if you're here, she had me on the phone for a good 30 minutes and I tried to get off to get on here, but I never want to not listen to what she says. So I had to listen to what she says and I came on a little bit late. So I'm going to find that t-shirt link and I'm going to put it up. Please support Maddie and the advocates by buying a t-shirt. All right. And I am Two Bear says he can't have any other inmates finding out what he's charged for. That's why he doesn't show up. Well, can I tell you what? At the very original hearing, they asked for the charges not to be read out loud as well, which I absolutely think that's ludicrous. They should absolutely have those read. That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all why they wouldn't have those read. So let's look at this. I'm going to try to be, I'm going to be live during court. And if the pretrial happens tomorrow, I'm going to come live with you guys, whether I'm working or whether I'm not. Thank you, Nanette, for being a new subscriber to the platform. All right, let's take a look at this. Can the case number be typed out? Yeah, I could type it out and put it in chat if you'd like. I just can't do it right now until we play the next video. Okay, can you guys see this? Court, felony, judge. Okay, keep an eye on the judge, guys. Sometimes we love judges. Let's hope we love this judge, and let's hope this judge hasn't seen too many of the SA charges and just like, oh, it's another one. Let's be light on this guy. Do you remember the guy that was transporting Stephan Sterns? Do you remember how he was talking to him real nice? Let's hope the judge isn't like that, okay? We don't want him to be biased, but we don't want him to be nice to the guy. All right? Take a look. We have Keith Karsten. You're going to know his name, you're going to learn his name, and you're going to memorize Keith Karsten's name. All right? So we got a felony. Look at these freaking charges, guys. Oh, okay, I'm going to take a breath. Stephan Michael Sterns. He has a public defender. We don't know what it is. Look at these charges of SA, battery on a child under 12. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at this. Battery with the child, familial custodial authority, which means that Stephan Sterns was watching Maddie quite a bit and he had the authority as a parent with her oftentimes. He was in the household with her and he lived there only a month prior to her passing away. Can I tell you something else? The grandma had suspicions, and you know what she did? She was about to cut Jen Soto off, whatever that means financially. She was about to cut her off because she knew something was going on, and she did not say anything. I'm spilling all the tea that I can now because I'm upset. I'm mad at this. I'm mad if it doesn't happen tomorrow. I cannot believe these charges, and I cannot believe that nothing's happened yet. Charges not read for the exact reason it's not leaked through other inmates. Right. But look at Jeffrey Dahmer. It wasn't supposed to be. It got leaked. Things get out. All right. Governor DeSantis just passed the DP for perps with SA under the age of 12. Yeah, I think DeSantis is in California, right? Also, they do have an autopsy report, and there's no murder charge because who are they going to charge? Do you know if it was Stephan Sterns or Jennifer Soto? All right, let's keep looking at this, everybody. Oh, yeah. All right, look at this. Number 14 through 20, lewd or lascivious, and then the letter M. You can read that yourself. I don't even like that word. All right, now 21, 22, 23, 24. We have unlawful possession of materials depicting S performance on a child, 10 or more images. Can you imagine at age 10, they say 2 years before, having full on intercourse with Stephan Sterns? All right, DeSantis is in Florida. Thank you. I don't know the Florida people. Thank you all. Full on. That's a definition of a demon. At this point, Maddie was full on having a relationship with Stephan Sterns, and we don't know what she was thinking. We don't know if she wanted to break up with him like normal kids do at that age. They break up. We don't know what happened. So she was full on in a relationship with him. In her mind, it was normal, but she probably thought of him as a boyfriend at this point. And here's the conflict. That's her boyfriend, and that's actually Jen's boyfriend. And he keeps breaking up with Jen, but he keeps coming back. It's so confusing, right? It's confusing for a little girl. All right. That sounds like every one of these represented a pick of the instance of abuse. Now, can I tell you something? The world is run by pedos. All right. Money talks. All right. So we keep going. 40, 41, 42, 10 or more images, and every single charge just keeps saying the same thing. All right. So look at that. All the way to 60. If he wouldn't have taken those pictures, or he would have accidentally deleted in his heart, he would have did a hard reset on his phone. Look at how many times we have images of what he was doing to Maddie. All the way to number 21, all the way to 60. Everything else was this. You can see SA and then under the age of 12. Okay. So I wanted you to see that. There's a case number there. All right. Let me tell you the case. I'll give you the case number now. I'll put it in there. It's 00632. Okay. It's 00632. And the rest of the numbers are 24 CF. All right. 24 CF. You could go to their website. Yeah. Thank God he didn't smash that phone. Carly's right. At least 400 pictures. How many videos do you think he had? I hate even thinking about it. There was objects used. There was other things. Grooming is a form of brainwashing. You know, I hate to say this, Davey, but for some reason, a lot of people were saying that Jen was groomed. Absolutely not do I think she was groomed. I think she saw this man. She wanted to hold on to him. She used her daughter as a pawn, and she kept her daughter away from Tyler Wallace purposely. Okay? All right. Now that we have that straight, we're going to stop. I'm going to chat with you guys while we watch this next clip. Again, we're remembering Maddie. I'm going to share the website that you can buy the t-shirt. We want to support Maddie and advocates. Okay, please, let's support them. I just need to find that website so I can share it with you, and I'll buy a t-shirt myself. I'll buy one right now when we're done. I'll buy one online with you if I can find that dang link. If somebody has the link, send it to me. All right. So we have more Vinny. We're talking about the life and death of Madeline Soto and Stephan Sterns jail calls. All right. The only person he called and the log that we have. All right, everybody. Let's do this together. All right. Let's chat. Let's do this together. All right. Hold on. I'm heated here. I was just talking to Millie, and I'm just heated. She's got me on fire right now.
Party, a big day in any child's life, celebrating the end of one phase and the start of the next, the teenage years. But tragically for Madeline, this was not the beginning of her teenage years. It was the end of her life. She was reported missing the next day by her mother, Jen, and investigators believe she was already dead by 8:19 that morning. But that doesn't match the story given by the main suspect, Stephan Sterns, Jen's live-in boyfriend.
All right, look at that awful picture. That's a terrible picture. And Bling Fire, people should still be talking about it. We have dates set. It says people aren't talking about the trial because no one knows what's going on or who did the actual ending of it. That shouldn't matter. We should still be talking about the pre-trial that's happening tomorrow. We should be talking about the trial that should be happening May 13th. We should hold these representatives accountable. We should be talking to and reaching out to the prosecutor. All of that stuff we should be doing. It doesn't matter who did it or who didn't or what stages. If it doesn't happen or it does, we should be holding people accountable, and we should be making sure that if it doesn't happen, know when it's going to happen so that we can be aware.
He says he dropped Madeline off at school, a story Jen repeated to police and to the public in television interviews. Tonight, we will take you to Madeline's neighborhood and retrace the alleged steps and route taken by Stephan Sterns on the morning of February 26th. Does this story make sense? And does it match some of the known evidence in the case? What was captured on surveillance cameras? Where was the car located? Does the timeline fit? We'll bring in our experts looking for answers as we continue to investigate the tragic life and death of Madeline Soto. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments as we continue our in-depth coverage of the disappearance and then murder of Madeline Soto. She is an innocent victim in all of this. She did nothing wrong. According to investigators, she began to be sexually abused and victimized at the age of...
Yeah, I just want you to know, every time I do a Madeline Soto video, YouTube just kicks out my monetization. So anything you guys could do, even if it's becoming a member so that we can keep this going. I just want to get in the algorithms, but yeah, I definitely, monetization doesn't happen obviously with this kind of content. So I'm not sitting here just racking up the dough on this. I'm trying to bring awareness, and I need people to be talking about it. Right now, I'm working on getting a link. We're going to stop and talk about things as they go. It's important for you to hear the actual times that this is happening and the ins and outs so that we can stop and talk about where Jen Soto was at that time. And I have a theory also about that. And I know when Disney closes their wedding planning as well. So we should know around the time when she was home.
8 years old. And that abuse continued year after year until she was dead, just after her 13th birthday. Someone tried to steal that innocence from her, but she is an innocent victim in all of this. Always have to keep that in mind. Now let's talk about Stephan Sterns. He told the story. He didn't exercise his right to remain silent when Madeline was reported missing. She was already dead, but she was reported missing. He spoke out. He spoke publicly, and he told the story. And that story is important. It's important for investigators. It's important for prosecutors. It's obviously important for him. And perhaps if he gets charged with murder, it'll be important for the jury to understand what his story was of what happened that day. And we're going to examine that story. We're going to trace step for step what he said happened that morning.
And we're going to talk about where Jen was, everybody. She's like a wedding person in the Disney portion, Disney World portion. Thank you again, Jess. I appreciate you so much. All of you supporting me. Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you for becoming a new member. I appreciate all of you. Everything is helping. All the days that I'm going to take off to do this, when I do travel, and believe me, I am going to Florida. I will go there, whether it's for sentencing, whether it's in the middle of the trial, whatever I got to do. I know that I'm the voice for these advocates, and they've asked me to do it. They personally asked me to do it. So I want you to know I'm being that and doing what it takes to help them and help Maddie.
Now, here's the other part of the equation. Madeline's mom, Jen, mom told the same story. Why is she telling the same story? What motivated that? Did she have independent knowledge? Was she just relying on and trusting the man who had been in her life for about 6 years? Was she pressured? Was she intimidated? Was she oblivious to the truth? Did she have something to do with it? Did she lie? There are a lot of questions about Jen Soto and what is behind what she was saying. Not just publicly on television, but also to investigators. Because some of this stuff, I don't think it makes sense. It doesn't fit with the independent, trustworthy, like video evidence in the case. It's not making common sense, and it doesn't seem to match the evidence. But we don't know what's motivating what she's saying, but she told the same story that Stephan said. It's the same story about what happened that morning and what happened the day before. No real variation from it. As a matter of fact, at one point, she's kind of including herself in taking Madeline to school.
All right, so since she's including herself, you never include yourself in taking somebody to school or seeing them at night or seeing them anytime. Even what she said is Stephan Sterns never takes her to school except that morning because she was tired. What did she do? Did she wake up and call Stephan and say, hey, can you come pick up Maddie? I'm too tired. Or was it telepathic? Did she telepathically beam it over to him so he would do it while she was sleeping through it? Now, 10 o'clock is when it closes for them for what her job is. So even if she was home by midnight, she was still home when Stephan Sterns was on Telegram posting pictures of what we don't know that night. It was 11:49 when he was posting those pictures. She was home. Thank you, Nikita. Everybody supporting the channel. Guess what? I'm talking to Jenny right now, and she's so freaking busy. She doesn't have time to even send me a link because she has to go to court tomorrow. If the court happens, she's going. All right. So we're going to get that we're going to get that footage, or we're going to get the lowdown from court. I'm going to post the email that you can email for t-shirts, but I'd really like a link so I could buy one right now.
Later saying it was my partner, Stephan, but still, she adopted that story. And that's what everyone was hearing when she first went missing. Now, the question tonight is, does it all make sense? And will it fit with the evidence? I don't know. That we're going to bring in our experts to take a look at that, and we're going to trace all of these steps. But first, let's take a step back and take a listen one more time. WFTV, on top of the story down in Orlando, spoke with Jen Soto and Stephan Sterns. Let's remind you of what they said, what their story is.
We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. She was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school, but she never made it.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. It's the last time we saw her.
What were the conversations that y'all had in the car when you dropped her off?
Not much. She was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out. I love her. Said thanks, love you too. That was it. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on. And that was it. But it was grainy. It was grainy footage and not much else.
Grainy footage. That's interesting, right? Okay, so
the footage wasn't grainy when they saw her not alive in the parking lot. The cops have the timestamps. They have the video. They know when Stephan Sterns went in and out of the complex. They know what time. They know when he took the backpack and dumped it. They have all that information. Now, if you take a look at Stephan and his demeanor compared to the mom's demeanor, the mom looked scared, anxious. He genuinely, even though he wasn't really crying for Maddie, he was crying for himself that he had lost this girl that he had groomed for years. Rosie says right after that, that's her job as a mom. What was different on that day that she did all other days? Yeah, I don't know what the difference was. The only difference I know, Rosie, is that's the night that Maddie was no longer alive. That's the only difference. So that's a good question.
Let's take a look at the map so we kind of understand the context of what this story is and what he says happened that day. And we begin at Madeline Soto's home. This is in the Venetian Bays subdivision, Santa Maria Drive. From there, it's about 5.6 miles or so until the United Methodist Church, Peace United Methodist Church. And you take that drive, depending upon traffic, probably about 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, depends upon how many stoplights you hit, et cetera. Then the last piece of that is the 4/10 of a mile walk from the church area to Hunters Creek Middle School. That's the walk right there. So this is what we're talking about. So let's bring in Court TV producer Cody Thomas, just back from Florida, joins us here in studio tonight. Cody, great to see you. Welcome back. So you retraced this trip.
I did. We followed that story from start to finish, from Venetian Bay to Peace United Methodist Church to Hunters Creek Middle School. Not that short of a trip, but what stood out to me the most was how close the church and the school really were. Of course, we know it's 0.4 miles, but when I really visualized it, you could see the school from the church. And of course, we'll get into that distance here in a minute, but I want to walk you through that entire journey we took from Venetian Bay to the school. Now that is the front gate to those Venetian Bay Villages apartments where Madeline Soto and her family live.
All right, so we see the front gate. I'm pausing it here just for a second so I can talk to you. I am going to talk to Jenny after this. I know she's busy right now, but she's 3 hours ahead of me. I'm going to call her tonight. I've already talked to Millie, and I'm going to find out if there's any way she could join me for a live tomorrow. And even if it's in front of the courthouse, she could tell me what's going on. If it doesn't happen, she could tell me what's going on. If we see Stephan Sterns, she'll tell me what's going on. I want to get all that information. So when I'm done with this live, I'm going to call her and we're going to talk about this tomorrow. I have to bring it to you tomorrow.
It's where her day began on February 26th. Of course, the day she went missing. It's also where suspect Stephan Sterns says he picked her up before taking her to school. Now, as we can see, that is a heavily secured gate. There's a security guard in the little hut right there checking every single car that comes in. There's plenty of cameras catching every single car that goes in and out. But there is also a back gate to the complex where Sterns could have exited the complex to take her to school that morning. So we're going to go check that out right now. Now, this is the back gate to the Venetian Bay apartment complex where Madeline Soto and her family lived. You can see a car pulling in now. It is also the gate closest to that dumpster that's referenced a lot in the police reports. We know now that dumpster is where police recovered Madeline Soto's book bag and her school-issued laptop. They say they have Stephan Sterns on camera throwing those items away in that dumpster the morning that Madeline went missing around 7:45 a.m. And I actually went and took some video of that dumpster earlier, and you can see that there are cameras right around where the dumpster is. So there's almost little to no doubt that those are the cameras that picked them up that police are referencing. And also, if you look closer to this back gate, you can see cameras looking right at every car that comes through those gates. And we do also know that police say they have video of Sterns returning to the complex with Madeline's body in the car the morning that she went missing when she was supposed to be at school. And of course, that is where police say they believe Madeline was already.
I'm not sure. I don't think this was the gentleman at the vigil. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carly, but it's Mr. David. And I think that gentleman wore glasses and maybe had facial hair. This guy is part of their team, but Mr. David is supporting the Maddie memorial and vigil and all that stuff. So I'm not sure that this is him.
Dead in the back of that car. But we are going to follow more of Sterns' story. So now we're going to take that drive from here, the Venetian Bay apartment complex, over to Peace United Methodist Church, where he says he dropped her off that morning before school. Now, something I am noticing on this drive to the church, we're going through plenty of busy intersections, all of which are flooded with security cameras. And my immediate thought is, if police don't already have it, they could probably track his entire route from the apartment complex to the church, and even from the church back to the apartment complex. Just something to think about as I'm going down this road from the Venetian Bay Apartments to Peace United Methodist Church. Now we are arriving at Peace United Methodist Church here on my left. Again, we are following the story that Sterns says happened the morning of February.
Now, Sterns didn't just say this. Jen said this too, and she would know better that Maddie wouldn't be dropped off at the church, which is way too far from the school and on a very busy street. Watch this and look below. I am a teacher 08@yahoo.com is where you can place your orders. I don't want to order shirts from somebody that is not sending the money to the advocates. All right. They're paying for gas money, food, all that on their own.
26 when Madeline Soto went missing, he says he picked her up and took her from the Venetian Bay Apartments here to the Peace United Methodist Church, drop her off before school. We are here now at that Peace United Methodist Church where Stephan Sterns says he dropped Madeline Soto off that morning of February 26th when she went missing. Now, take a look down this road, Town Loop Boulevard. You know, we got some cars here. It's very wide open. You can see almost anything going on in this church parking lot, in this green space in front of the church. And we were actually out here earlier this morning around that time, 8:30 a.m. that Stephan Sterns says he did drop Madeline off. Now, one more thing to note down this road. There's security cameras on top of almost every single light post. Now, police authorities say they have evidence of Madeline Soto in this parking lot at some point that day. We took a lap around the parking lot. We didn't really see any cameras in the church parking lot itself, but that's not to say there couldn't be a camera inside that points out the glass front doors that could have picked her up as well. But the most important thing to note about this location, just down this way, under this overpass, that's Hunters Creek Middle School. That's the school where Madeline Soto attends, where she was supposed to be walking that morning. So we're going to take that walk right now and see how long it takes. Right now it's about 12:18-ish. So let's see what that walk may have looked like for Madeline Soto that morning.
All right, you see that? That would have been from the church to her school, and this guy's doing it. We love boots on the ground. I wish I could be there. If there's somebody else that's there that doesn't work tomorrow that wants to go to the trial and at least just go out in front of the courthouse, see who's coming in. Maybe you'll catch Jenny and the advocates out front. You get some video. If anybody can do that that's local, I invite you. Let's stream it, okay? I'll find out what time and everything it is. Jenny will know today. All right, let's keep watching. This is ludicrous.
Now, as we walk down this road, we can see that it is pretty wide open. You know, for a 13-year-old girl to be walking by herself this length from this church to this school. And we also see a dump truck back here. There was construction going on just a little bit earlier. I mean, she might have had to stray off into the road to get around it. That could be pretty dangerous, pretty frightening for a young 13-year-old girl to be doing this by herself. Now again, as we're here walking, cars are steadily coming by. And when we were out here earlier this morning during that morning rush, there were way more cars coming by, lots of visibility, ample amounts of visibility from the road. Right now it's about lunchtime, so there's a little less. But again, around 8:30 this morning, way more cars than we're seeing right now. So it is a very busy road here on Town Loop Boulevard as we make our way from Peace United Methodist Church down to Madeline School, Hunters Creek Middle School.
That's ridiculous, everybody. Look at that. Now, pay attention what Jen said. Jen said that Maddie didn't even know how to get home. She said she didn't know. She doesn't think she knew her address, and she wouldn't be able to get home because she doesn't pay attention to where people are taking her when she goes home. So my 9-year-old knows how to get home from anywhere. As soon as we get close, she's like, oh, go there, go there. There's no way Maddie didn't know. And look at this walk. She said that they dropped her off there, not Stephan. And maybe Stephan said that, but she backed him up.
Now, this here is the site of that construction we did see earlier. The construction workers may be on a lunch break right now, but earlier they were coming across the sidewalk. So the entire sidewalk was blocked off. And again, who's to say that wasn't going on that morning? Whatever they're out here doing, whatever they're trying to improve, Madeline may have had to stray off right here into the main busy road, which again, very dangerous for a young girl, very dangerous for anybody, but especially a young 13-year-old girl out here by herself walking to school that morning. Now we are here under this overpass on this walk from the church to the school. This is Highway 417 here in Orlando, very busy road. Now again, we know she was supposed to be out here in the daytime, the early morning hours of February 26th. But even in the day, it gets a little dark under here. You know, you can still see, but it gets a little dark. It could be a little spooky, a little scary. Again, for a 13-year-old young girl walking out here by herself.
Which we know isn't true now. We absolutely know that wasn't true. It was a lie. That didn't happen, but he's just showing you. I just muted it for a second. He knows that that's a lie, and we all know that it's a lie now, and it's not even a good lie. That's why he's showing you. All right.
That underpass, again, that was Highway 417 here in Orlando, approaching Hunters Creek Middle School, the middle school where Madeline Soto attended. Of course, we now know that she never made it to school that day on February 26th. Her mother showed up around 4:30 p.m. just to be informed that Madeline Soto did not make it. Now, looking down at my watch, that walk took between 6 and 7 minutes, which is, to me, a long way for a 13-year-old girl to be walking by herself that morning. And again, we do know that Madeline Soto never made it to school on that fateful day.
I have one big question here, and this has been bothering me, right? The drop off. Like, the story is drop off because she's embarrassed that, you know, growing up is dropping her off. She's a teenager, blah, blah, blah. Right? I've seen it in teen movies. I've never seen it in real life. But you could, if you're at that church, you could stay there and you could you see her, like, make it to school safely?
Without a doubt. You can see the Hunters Creek Middle School parking lot from the church through the overpass. You could see everything. You could watch her walk that entire lane to know she's safe and then leave if that was what you wanted to do. But what didn't make sense to me was how close the church was. Like, I don't understand why you would have to drop her at the church versus doing that, of course.
Yeah, we know that wasn't the case. We know they made up a lie. They didn't think that they were going to find Maddie so soon. And they probably didn't think that they were going to come at them. They were trying to blame her, like she took off. They talked about her saying she wanted to go move into the woods when she turned 13 and be off alone. So they're trying to victim blame at this point, and they were trying to make her sound like, you know, she wasn't very intelligent. She had ADHD. Maybe she had problems. That was the mom mostly pushing that narrative. Stephan Sterns, I think, genuinely was upset that he lost his, you know, he thought of her as his girlfriend that he loved. And they're going to play on that. Believe me, the cops are not dumb when it comes to that. They are going to play on that. And I believe they're doing that right now.
The teen angle.
They say, oh, yeah, it's going to blame it on the victim. Of course, blame it on the victim, blame it on Madeline. But at the end of the day, like, if you're a responsible parent or like a normal parent, like in today's world, because there's, like, you know, pedophiles out there, you would, if your 13-year-old daughter or stepdaughter or girlfriend's daughter, whoever it is you're responsible for, okay, I'll just watch you to make sure you get there.
Right.
And he could just stay there and could watch and see if she's okay.
That's exactly right. Quite literally does not make any sense that he would drop her off there and leave
and then
her.
turn around, I'm out of here. I dropped her. No,
middle school doesn't make any sense.
Now, the one thing that I saw, the construction that was going on, I guess the question is, was it going on at that day? Because if it was, you know, we'll hear about it, perhaps from the defense. Any idea whether it was going on the 26th of February? We just don't know.
I don't want to say we don't know, but it did look like they were still in progress. Whatever they were working on did not look like it was anywhere close to being finished. It looked like it had been going on for at least a few days, if not a few weeks.
Okay,
right.
So I think that's an important part of it. One other thing I noted here, those traffic cams on the lights.
Almost every single street light had one of those traffic cams. I may have seen maybe 2 or 3 that didn't have one. It was one of the most heavily camera surveilled roads I've seen. And as I said in that piece just now, there was no cameras in the actual church lot. So my assumption would be that it had to be one of those traffic cams that picked her up in that parking lot at some point that morning.
Yeah, she's walking around and what they see, if she was there, right?
If she was even there.
Maybe someone was there. It was so grainy, maybe they thought.
Now, I want you to know, this is great that they're doing this and reenacting so you all can see. If somebody's in that area, they understand a bit better than we do. Friday, we're doing a secret live chat, and we're going to talk about, I think we're going to end up talking about Maddie, because if you voted, go to my page and vote for the case you want to talk about. Everybody wants to talk about Maddie. Now, it's going to be no holds barred, and we can say anything we want because it's going to be a secret live chat. YouTube's not going to dox us for things. I'm okay with saying any words. So you're going to be free to say what you want. Get your membership now if you can. So by Friday, you can join. I have to do members only content to serve the members that are paying. But we're talking about the case now. Maybe I'll be on tomorrow. Hopefully, well, I'll be on tomorrow to talk about the trial. If it doesn't happen, the pre-trial, I'm going to let you know.
It was her. Maybe somebody was pretending to be her.
One more thing to note about that lot. We were out there in the morning. No kids were getting dropped off there. There were barely any cars there to begin with in the first place. There were maybe 3 or 4 cars at around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. So
it doesn't seem like it was a common place for that to happen.
All right. Wow. All right, Cody, great work. Obviously, this story's not over because tomorrow's a big day. Right? An update from the Kissimmee Police Department. Let's put this up on the screen because this is pretty significant. 2 o'clock tomorrow, the Kissimmee Police Department will highlight the progress of the investigation of the Madeline Soto case. Since her reported disappearance on February 26, 24, the department has been diligently pursuing leads, gathering information and evidence to piece together the timeline leading up to her death. So tomorrow, 2 o'clock, And Court TV, of course, will be covering that live for you folks. We'll get an update from Kissimmee PD. Cody Thomas, thank you so much. When we come back, folks, we're going to bring in some experts to analyze this, piece together some of the evidence. Shannon Butler from WFTV will join us as well. Plus, coming up next.
All right, this is nice that we get to just fast forward through this. I don't have commercials, obviously, on my Facebook. I have a premium, but we don't have to watch this. Let's keep going. You know what? I just got a message from Jenny right now, and she says, please send her an email. Send her an email with the sizes that you want and the style. I gave you the email. It's IamAteacher@yahoo.com. I'll put it again. You don't have to send your credit card payment, everybody. Just send her the order and she'll get back to you with the payment, what she needs. She also says that when she gets outside of the courtroom, she'll be able to stream for us. They don't let you stream inside the courthouse, but she could do it outside. So I'm telling her that's perfect. She can let us know. She's going to go to the courthouse. So stay tuned for my channel to be streaming some information about the pretrial tomorrow, okay? Let's fast forward this. I know it goes to like 21 minutes. All right.
Body in the early morning hours on that day.
So police have their theory, but Stephan Sterns has his story. So does his story match up with the police timeline? Let's take a look. Let's remind you what Stephan's story is. February 26th.
All right, we'll keep this on there so you can see Stephan's story. Jen, not Soto, Jenny Esquivel, the person that's an advocate, says tomorrow, listen up, everybody, the pretrial tomorrow, if it happens or whatever happens, if Stephan Sterns doesn't go or he goes, tomorrow is going to be when the trial date is decided. They're going to decide if the trial date is going to be moved, if they have enough evidence, if he pleads guilty. They're going to make a lot of decisions. So if the defense asks for a continuance, then the trial date will change tomorrow. So this is information that we're just getting right now about the pretrial tomorrow. So stay tuned.
Picks up Madeline at home, dropped Madeline off at the Peace United Methodist preschool at around 8:40, and then Madeline walked the rest of the way to Hunters Creek Middle School. That's his story. Here's, according to police, sort of the timeline and map of things that happened that day. 7:35 a.m., Stephan Sterns is discarding Madeline's backpack and school laptop.
All right, we're seeing the timeline again. I'm just answering a couple questions while we're here. Now, you don't have to order a shirt. You guys can wait until the link comes, and then we can all order it together. Sterns did move out because the parents own the condo. Jen Soto's dad owns a condo, and the mom, she didn't own it, but she pulls weight with her money. And they were very unhappy that he was there, and they made him move out or they were going to cut Jen off. So yes, she was not happy that he was at the party. She was not happy with him, and she knew something. She had grandmother's intuition, but she didn't say anything.
Top in the dumpster at the Venetian Bay Villages complex where they live. At 8:10, a license plate reader catches Sterns' plates driving away from Hunters Creek Middle School. That's at 8:10. 8:19. Sterns is returning to Venetian Bay apartment complex, and Madeline can be seen in the vehicle, and police believe she's deceased at the time. 8:19. And then 1 to 2:30, Stephan Sterns is in the St. Cloud area. That's like 20 plus miles away, changing a flat tire. Let's bring in our guest. Does any of this make sense? Does his story make sense?
Nope.
Joining us in Orlando, Florida, WFTV investigative reporter Shannon Butler.
All right. They always have good insight. I love this team here. Eventually we're going to have, because the channel, the crime crew, you guys are making this channel blow up faster than I even could have imagined. I want to call out Millie. Millie Isaac is here, and she helps with the advocacy. She says if they took her to school every day in that same car, why would she feel ashamed to be dropped off that particular day in front of the school? Common sense and logic, people. All right. Millie is over there behind the scenes with the advocacy group, helping them. She knows what's going on. She's talking to Jenny right now. She talks to me whenever I want. I call her anytime. She's amazing. So I just want you to know my connection to this case is through these lovely ladies. So I'm not just, out here talking nonsense.
Michigan City, Indiana, private investigator and founder of Victims News Online, Erica Morse, and joining us from Salt Lake City, Utah, private investigator Jason Jensen. Great to see and have everyone here tonight. I understand, Shannon, there's a slight delay here, so I'm just warning the folks at home that a slight delay in our connection. So, Shannon, let me begin with you. In comparing Stephan Sterns' story with what police are saying, to me, it's not adding up. There's conflict here.
Well, there's a lot of conflict. First, he lives in the home, so I'm not sure why he was picking her up to take her to school. At 7:35, those investigators believe that Madeline Soto was already deceased. The only reason they don't know that for sure is because they had a hard time with the camera angle in that vehicle, but they believe that she was in that vehicle at the time. Then there's a license plate reader just after 8 o'clock showing Stephan Sterns' car over by the school, leaving that area. Then we know at 8:19, he was back at the apartment complex, and that's when they could tell that Madeline Soto was dead in the front seat of that car. So dropping her off at that church, because remember, we've heard two stories, that they dropped her off at school. Then we heard that he dropped her off near the school. And now we look at that time when the school started at 9:30, and he says he dropped her off about 8:40. Why are you dropping a 13-year-old girl off near a school an hour before school starts? The gates aren't even open. The doors aren't even open. What would you be dropping her off? And if you remember, he said that he watched her dig through her backpack in the church parking lot looking for, he thought maybe her headphones, because she was always doing that. And then he watched her walk away. None of that video evidence shows that none of that is true.
Digging through the backpack. Oh, all right. Erica Morse. So what do you think this means? What do you think's going on here? Because the license plate reader has him near the school at 8:10. Is he trying to set up a story, or is something happening in the car? I'm trying to understand what this could possibly mean if he's near the school at 8:10 and then comes back. And she's apparently not alive inside the car at 8:19.
So it's at 8:19. I wanted to answer your question, Gigi. 8:19 is when they saw that, but the police aren't disclosing all of the video that they saw. They're not telling us when he left that night, when he came back, and all the ins and outs. They're not telling us all that because they don't want to mess up the investigation in case somebody saw something or knows something. They don't want people to say they saw something that the police are telling them they saw. So remember that.
Betty, I went back and forth over this timeline a dozen times because of that specific window. There are details in there that don't yet make sense to us based on what we know. It's just that simple. That 7:35 dumping of the laptop in the backpack. First of all, I raised a 13-year-old child.
Listen.
And there is no way he got that backpack with that school-issued laptop out of the hands of a living 13-year-old girl. That didn't happen. So my issue at this point is with the 7:35 to 8:19. I am unclear if he left to dump the backpack, to scout a location, to establish a potential presence near the school, because I'm also unclear where she was killed yet. And we don't know, and I think that's why we don't have any murder charges at this point. I think they're trying to determine if this was a murder in the commission of a kidnapping or if she was killed at home and then moved. That will make the difference between a capital case or not.
So Jason Jensen, let's work under the police theory here that they believe that she's dead at 7:35. This guy's driving around town with.
Now I want you to see that it says Stephan Sterns trial date for May 13th. That can all change tomorrow morning when the pre-trial happens and we find out if there's a continuance, if Stephan Sterns decides not to go, if they're still looking at Jen and they need to arrest her and they got to get their stories together, if he pleads guilty, all of that's going to change. Yeah, nothing makes sense in this case because we don't have all of nothing makes sense, period, but nothing makes sense because we don't have the times. And I do agree. I think the abuse happened in their home time and time again. I think it happened that night. I think it happened after the birthday party. And I think at 11:49, Stephan Sterns was sharing pictures of Maddie, maybe possibly not alive.
The dead child in the car. He's driving around. So what could be going through his mind is it almost looks like he's trying to set up and figure out what his story is going to be. But as Shannon pointed out, he's like way ahead of the game here because school starts at 9:30. But if you're real close to the time the school starts, there's going to be lots of other kids and people there, AKA witnesses. So what do you think he's attempting to do if you believe the police theory here?
Well, I believe that everyone here is correct, that it's essential to understand that him disposing of the laptop and the backpack at 7:35 is essential because she's already deceased. The question is, at that point, why drive around? That's what you just asked. So I believe what this indicates is he's got to remove Madeline from the home just in case Jen shows up. But he certainly is panicking, trying to figure out where to dispose of this 13-year-old so that he can go around and fabricate the rest of his morning in hopes to deflect responsibility for this, because clearly, it doesn't look good for him.
No, I mean, it looks, nothing is like 100% sure or 100% obvious, but first you got to eliminate the people closest to her, right? Like the last person with her, and you can't eliminate him. There's no way you can eliminate him from this. But Shannon, let me add one more thing to our timeline, which is significant, and we add Jen Soto. She's apparently home at 8 o'clock and is saying that she sees her daughter getting dressed at 8 a.m. Like, you throw that into the mix here, all of a sudden it gets much more complicated involving mom.
Well, I guess it depends on which story of hers you want to look at, because what she told us in the interview, that she only spoke to her the night before after her birthday party. She never told us that she saw her daughter leave for school. We found that in the original report that those responding deputies took when she said that her daughter was missing after she went to pick her up at school. That's what she told those responding deputies, that she saw her daughter get dressed for school. And that was after 8 o'clock. That seems strange because at 7:35, Stephan Sterns was already dumping that stuff in the dumpster. I think that they were, at least he was trying to, because he told us that Madeline was asleep in the car all the way to school, because we asked, what did she say? What was your last conversation? Was anything odd? Anything out of the ordinary for, a 13-year-old besides, just being 13? And he said she slept the whole way. So if that story, if he wanted to go with that story, people in that complex would have seen him in and out of that complex, and she was in the front seat. And it would look possibly to somebody who didn't know anything was going on that she was in fact asleep on the way to school. The story a little bit started to unravel then at 8:19, where they could tell that Madeline Soto was not asleep. And then remember, he leaves that apartment complex, and more video will show him on the way to the place where body was found, and it will show that he was also in contact with her body there in a much different state.
Now, Erica Morse, something else I just realized now. If he is saying that she's asleep all the way, are you going to, wake up, we're here at the church, go walk? Like, that makes no sense. That makes no sense.
Absolutely not. If you've ever tried to wake a child that fell asleep in the car, it doesn't work that way. So, no, I think exactly what everybody's.
All right, I just gifted one more membership, everybody. So make sure your membership opt in to get a membership. I want to make sure that everybody that can possibly be there on Friday will be there on Friday. We can talk about the pre-trial. We can talk about what happens, what didn't happen, what's happening next, and everything in between on Friday. Okay?
Saying is spot on. I think that he didn't expect those cameras to catch him dumping that stuff in the dumpster. I don't think he expected to be caught necessarily on camera. And you know what? He also made a special trip back just to get that clicker so he could move in and out using that back gate where it isn't guarded. And one of the main questions I have is that security shack, that guard shack, is that manned 24/7, or is that maybe only 7A to 7P? Do we know that there was somebody physically inside that shack at 7:35 in the morning, or 7:30 when he left? We don't have that information yet either. And then, thank God, I know we'll probably get to it, but I do believe divine intervention probably intervened, and this man ended up with a flat tire, 30 feet across from an open gate where the dump site was. And thank God we had a witness that saw him.
Yes. Now, Cody Thomas was down there, and while he was down there was someone in that guarding the front gate the whole time that he was there. Okay. By the way, if you didn't know there's a camera at the dumpster, if you take a look at that video, like, the camera is right there. It's like, I've never seen anything like it near a dumpster anywhere else in the world. Like,
oh, it's by dumpsters. Elijah Vu had a camera out there, and I want to tell you all something. I truly believe that this what happened to Maddie was not planned. It wasn't planned. The flat tire wasn't planned, and everything was very sloppy and last minute. they panicked and they got rid of her. They didn't expect all of the cameras to be on. They didn't expect for everybody to move that quickly, and it caught traction, and that's what happened. The flat tire made him dump Maddie, I hate even saying that, in a spot that was in the wide open. Otherwise, they wouldn't have found her so quick. So this was definitely not a planned thing, and they panicked.
Here's a dumpster, and there's a big pole, and there's a camera pointed right at the dumpster. So I don't know what he was thinking there. None of this makes sense. We don't catch the smart ones. He's charged with 60 things right now, but as of this point, he's not charged with the murder. No one's been charged with the murder. The mother's not been named a suspect, but we've got more to talk about. When we come back, all our guests stay with us, and we're going to talk about some jailhouse calls by Stephan Sterns.
All right, so it sounds juicier than it is, but we're going to see the call log. I wish they would show it. I wish we'd see something, but stay here because I want you to see who he's calling.
Crocs.
Right.
Look, and to police. When your child goes.
Hold on.
Stephan Sterns. Welcome back. So one big piece of information that you want to give to the public and to police when your child goes missing is, well, what were they wearing? What were they wearing? Well, Jen Soto spoke to police, spoke to WFTV, and talked about what Madeline was wearing on the 26th. Let's take a listen.
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it.
All right. I don't know about that backpack. I don't know where that's coming from. But anyway, Shannon Butler, let me ask you, investigative reporter, WFTV, do we know what Jen Soto was wearing when she was found on Hickory Tree Road in that tree line in the brush after she had been murdered?
We do.
I also want to tell you something. That photo that was leaked from the police officer that took pictures of the scene and then accidentally posted to Instagram, it actually matches with the green hoodie and some kind of jeans. You can see the outline of Maddie's body in the picture. It wasn't very clear. There was no blood or nothing gruesome, but he shouldn't have done that. Plunder does not have the detailed call logs. It doesn't say anything more than we're talking about. As a matter of fact, she shows Chris Watts and the video logs from there. I'm not sure why I got confused about that, but it's Chris Watts. There's no detailed logs.
Because Osceola County accidentally posted a picture of her body on social media. And in that picture, she is wearing a green hoodie.
Yep.
We cannot see the shoes, but she is wearing what appears to be blue jeans or denim shorts,
right.
not
Exactly.
black. We don't know what that backpack looked like, which doesn't maybe matter because it wasn't with the child. It was in the dumpster, but we don't know what shoes. So it was odd to me that she didn't get quite right what her daughter was wearing when she left, because remember, she told us, she told police that she did see her daughter leave for school.
All right, Jason Jensen, what are your thoughts about mom giving this description that kind of puts her in the middle of everything in that morning, but then when you match it?
Look at that beautiful memorial. Let's give credit real quick. Take a quick moment of silence and give credit where it's due to the advocates. Jenny goes every single day and services this memorial to make sure nothing's blown away, people don't take stuff, things don't perish, and nobody does anything nefarious or weird. So this is the memorial that Jen is always talking about, Jenny Escoville and the advocacy group. And look at that. It says Forever 13, Justice for Maddie. That's what we all want.
Up with the timeline, I think it creates a little bit of a problem for her.
It really will, Benny. And one of the problems that you have is whenever a child goes missing, you know, you get everybody concerned, especially within the core family, and they will take what they know as.
There is a log of the calls, but there's nothing to it. One of the calls was like a few seconds, and it's honestly just him calling the dad. I don't even think they connected. It was seconds. So yeah, that is on Plunder, but the whole episode, it's only a couple of seconds. And that's what That's what we're talking about right now. He's talking about the call logs. I think he made 5 calls and they were to his dad.
And with the things that they hear and incorporate that as one, one size fits all kind of answer for everybody. And if they're given misinformation, then they disseminate that misinformation. So I believe that's what is going on here is Jen relied on what Stephan told her, and that's being shared with, law enforcement or the public, which doesn't help if this was a real missing person situation because you want to get accurate information out there. But we know that there's a cover-up going on, and Stephan is behind it.
Now, jailhouse calls. We go back, more than 10 years. There was a woman from Central Florida got.
All right, here we go. If there was more to share, I would share it with you, but there is not. Here it is. Here's all the gossip of the calls. It's not a lot.
Arrested, made some calls to her parents, etc. Became a big part of the story of the case. Stephan Sterns apparently making some calls. Let's take a look. March 1st, 2024, 1035, calling a 210 area code, which is a San Antonio area code. Talk time 0 seconds. March 3rd, 515, 407 area code. Of course, that's O-Town, Orlando. Talk time 0 seconds. And that number seems to come back to his name when you look it up. Shannon Butler, I know you're tracking down all these records. Have you uncovered anything? Are there videos of these calls? Does anything like that exist?
Nope.
So I guess I thought it was a little bit odd that there was no phone call because we've asked, kind of every few days to see if anyone was called. That has not changed. He hasn't had a phone call in quite some time. That last phone call with his dad. And since then, no family members have spoken to him. We don't know what those if it's video, if it was just a phone call. We don't have that yet. It used to be where we could get those phone calls and you could hear what was said. They've put some rules on that now, and we're not able to hear what was said or what we could see from video. And I think of that case that you're talking about, I think that suspects and their families have learned a lot about what to say and what not to say on those jailhouse calls. But really since then, you don't see any calls back and forth with Jen Soto. You don't see any calls back and forth with his family. We know he doesn't have a high-priced attorney right now. He's got a public defender.
All right, so you all heard that. No, Jen Soto's not calling him. No, Jen Soto's not visiting. Jen Soto's nowhere in sight, everybody. She has a lawyer and she's hanging tight. Now, I'm almost positive that the parents are paying for the lawyer because they pay for everything else. And I believe there was assault going on in her family, and they definitely want to cover that up. They don't want that to come out.
He says he can't afford attorney. I imagine that the attorneys are visiting him in jail, but for right now, he seems pretty isolated from the public now, not being able to or making any phone calls or getting any phone calls in jail.
Erica Morse, you look at the profile of this guy. If he is, in fact, a predator, everything he did seemingly in his life was to gain access. And the ultimate access to gain is a single mom with a young girl. And when he met Jen Soto, Madeline was about 7 years old. This is classic behavior if it turns out to be true.
If it turns out to be true, we have 60 counts so far, Vinny. Listen, I got my start in investigations when a 13-year-old was kidnapped by mom's boyfriend, and then we found thousands of images of bestiality and child pornography, and he was never charged.
Did you hear that? I didn't just say that.
For that, but this case has so many correlations to Haley Dunn, it makes me sick. And as somebody who has thoroughly investigated that case, everything from mom's story that does not jive that morning, his continuous stories, him moving around all over the place, these 60 counts, 20 of which are instances, independent instances of sexual assault. And you can tell the progression, Vinny, because half the charges are from when she was under the age of 12, and a lot of the charges are then when she was over the age of 12. I want to know, was there ever an outcry in a school setting? Did mom ever get any wind of this? Did we ever have a CPS case opened or investigated? Were there ever any allegations of inappropriate touching or behavior? There are a million questions that yet need to be answered from my perspective.
Shannon Butler, any information like that coming out from your investigation of this case?
Now, this goes further than just being careful with your babies. I agree 1,000%, but she was dating this man and she was competing for his love. This was beyond us normal mothers. This was a case of her not being careful at all, her not checking Maddie at all, her not taking care of her. I know when my daughter has a little tiny cut on her arm, if she has a nick, I know it. And I say, what happened? This mom wasn't checking anything, but it went beyond that. She was competing with Maddie for his affection, I believe.
There's still quite a bit of quite a few questions about Jen Soto. They're pretty tight-lipped. We know that they are looking into her. The story didn't help that the stories were different, not only to us, but then to other media outlets and then to law enforcement. I know that there some thoughts about the reaction when she found out the news about her daughter, about her boyfriend, likely never seeing the light of day again if these charges are in fact continue. So it's hard to know just how much they know about her story or how much they will really dig into her story. There's just so much that we don't know yet on that. They're pretty tight-lipped, and a lot of it was because they still had things to figure out. The video really was helpful, and the phone was really helpful, but there's a lot of pieces they're putting together to make sure that they can put the murder charges where they need to be, and if they need to decide on charges for Jen Soto. So it's a little bit slow going right now. Remember, Kissimmee Police Department is a smaller department than some. It's a smaller town, and they've got as many people as they can working on it.
And a lot of eyes.
It will take them some time. Tomorrow will be the first time.
Big
a
day.
lot of eyes, right?
Right.
And
Big day.
Tomorrow will be the first time that we get a look. I'm not expecting a lot from that news conference, though.
We shall see. 2:00 tomorrow. Shannon Butler, Erica Morse, Jason Jensen.
Now, we saw the news conference. We saw the second news conference, and it was almost word for word the exact same thing both times. There wasn't anything new other than the fact that the officer that was giving the conference said one thing. She said, pay attention to your kids, watch out for who's around. And she did say that they were looking at people around the house or persons. That's about it. She didn't give much. And I think that we're at the end of this.
Thank you all so much.
Yep. All right. So, oh boy. That went really quick, everybody. It's an hour and 36 minutes. I think I've given you as much information as I possibly am allowed to share with you. I have Millie here. I'm talking to Jen here. I'm talking to Ashley. So all of these advocates, I want you to know, we call each other. We talk. They let me know what they can. They give me things off the record that I can't speak about. I wouldn't say this. I can't say this. But Kim, Princess, I agree with you. I'm not allowed to say anything about the mom. I don't want anyone going to attack anybody, but I agree. I agree that she's not going to get charged, but having knowledge is being culpable. So when you have knowledge that your granddaughter can't sleep alone and that she is having, she's troubled and you kick a boyfriend out of the house, telling you right now, you have knowledge of something, and she had knowledge of something. Now, I wouldn't say the entire Soto family, because the aunt seemed like she was supportive. Maybe she didn't know what was going on. But yeah, there's some Soto family people that are there, but they're not really there. They weren't at the vigil. They haven't been at the memorial. And I'll tell you now, we see the people that are there. We know the people that are there, and they're not there. Yeah, we don't know much about the grandma. I don't want to blame her, but I do want to say that I wish she would have spoke up. And instead of giving Jen a chance, I wish she would have turned Stephan Sterns in and did something about it. Kylie says, my girls are 5 and 2.5, but I know every mark on them. And you can say the grandma makes you sick. I can't say that. I know every mark on my daughter too. I still help her bathe and shower and clean. I'm a mom. All right. So I pay attention to everything. It says there's no opt-in, just have to wait. Now you can opt in for a membership, Anna. You just opt in and you could win a membership from somebody that gives it away. All right. I'll take a couple more comments here. If you have any questions, ask. I really think even if Maddie didn't say it all, at some point she told her mom she didn't like him or didn't want him around, or probably some point after it started. Also, Krista, it was very apparent that Stephan Sterns was pining after Maddie. If you look at all of his Reddit posts, it says my girlfriend's daughter, my girlfriend's daughter, my girlfriend's daughter, my girlfriend's daughter, over and over and over and over. He had the Tamagotchis. Oh, I accidentally got a pink one. I'm giving it to my girlfriend's daughter. Every freaking post, every picture you see Stephan Sterns in, he's looking at Maddie and he's like following her around. He's got her on his shoulders. He's playing with her. Man, come on. Even a parent, a biological parent, a parent doesn't give that much attention to their kids in that way that he was giving her. Okay, I give my daughter attention, but he was over the top. If my whole life was just like, yeah, maybe when she was a baby, I'd post baby pictures. Oh, wow, she's drinking a bottle now. Well, kids drink a bottle, but yeah, I definitely gave her attention. But this guy was over the top for it not being his daughter. He groomed her. He had her groomed to perfection. He lost her. And I think he's going to roll over on Jen Soto and he is going to try to get himself out of the death penalty. And he's going to talk, everybody. He is a freaking coward. Oh, man, I got to stay on here a little bit longer because Nikita is amazing. I got to stay on here and see who's got gifts. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. If you're here, you don't even have to be here, but make sure you're opted in. Yeah, I am Two Bear. He was buying her. He was buying her affection. You saw him painting stuff. He painted these little tiny characters and he had a bunch of them around the house that he was painting. So welcome to the new crime crew. Tell me who won these, please. Yeah, I think Cakes Boo, and I think it's Australia won one. All right, Davey says maybe part of the communication had to do with him advertising the fact that he has new material. You're right. That's a good possibility. And Telegram, you don't know. They can't find it. So, yeah, you know what? I was scared to go down the Reddit hole too, and it does clear up a lot more, but I only take bits and pieces of Reddit because otherwise Reddit will just eat you alive. It's not good. It's also not good to get your information solely from websites like that. Yes, you are all very welcome. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the crime crew. And Anna, look at you. Yay. Thank you so much. Have to ask when to get a membership with this runs out. Yes, you're amazing. You got one. See? The crime crew came through. I think Marie got one. Thanks, Marie, for being here. I hope you keep coming back. I hope you join our members only live on Friday. It's going to be interesting. Jess, you had to delete it. Hey, you know what? On Friday, we can go down the Reddit rabbit hole. We can do whatever we want on Friday, everybody. Anna, yes, continue it. Come back. You know, it's not about the money, and it's not even a lot of money. It just helps me to continue making content. I'm going to buy an equalizer right after I get off of this. When I pick my daughter up, I'm going to come back and buy an EQ so I can adjust my volumes and have a better podcast. All right, it's not a podcast, but you can listen to it. We call it a podcast. So many new members. You guys are amazing. Oh, man. All right, everybody. I don't know what time. Let me ask if you guys can stay here for a minute. Let me ask Jen, not Soto. Let me ask Jen, what time is the pre-trial tomorrow? Okay. I want you guys to stay tuned to me. Stay tuned and keep posted. Carly, you're amazing. I wish the icons would come in. I can't make more yet because I'm a new creator. I think some of you guys don't know I'm very new at this. I've only been here like 3 months and they only give me a certain amount. So I'm going to take the you're awesome. Thank you. I'm going to take the you're amazing. Jenny from the block. Yes. You want me to give you a link? It's a join link. You go to the membership and you go to my page and you join it. I will give you a link right now in the chat. Well, wait, actually, hold on. No. Okay, so you just go to my homepage and you go to the join. You hit the join button. Just go right to my homepage, hit join, and chick. I'm glad I found your channel. I'm glad you did too. I bet you guys, none of you guys could wait until tomorrow. All right, this is amazing. So guess what? Wow. 9 a.m. tomorrow in Florida. Check this out. All right. Jen says there are other cases. I don't know what time the judge will handle the case. The judge has other pending cases. She will let me know. So please put your alarm set up for 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 6 a.m. my time. So I better go to bed early so I can get up. There's a membership link, everybody. You go to the membership link, sign up for it. Come on Friday. We'll have some callers. We'll do a whole bunch of stuff. All right. Yeah, you guys did get the scoop. So 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're in Mountain Time, it's 8 a.m. Yes, Linda, you did get one because you're a member now. That's awesome. You see that little membership thing? Sadie's mama says, night crime crew. Have a great night, everyone. Yes, Linda, you could thank. Let me tell you who you could thank. You could thank I think it was it Nikki that gave those out? All right. Everybody, I love you so much. I'm saying thank you to Lori. I'm saying thank you to Jess, as always. I'm saying thank you to Monica for the super sticker. Nikita, $20 super sticker. I'm going to go buy that EQ for my volume. Misty, new member. I'm so glad. I thought you were already. Cakesboo, Australia. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Keep on emailing me. Keep on getting all the things going. And let's stay tuned tomorrow together, okay? I'll get up super early. Let's get some rest. Then I could be up and be on here at 6 a.m. and kind of watch out to see what happens. I love each and every single one of you. To Rue, I'll take that. Thank you so much. Anybody that's complimenting me, just know for every person that compliments me, there's there's 2 people that don't compliment me and they say bad things to me. So I want you to know I get a lot of hate for no reason. I think it might just be how I look. I'm not sure, but I get a lot of people saying things to me and I try to let it go in one ear and out the other. I really don't know why people want to break me down. 9 a.m. I'll do my best. I don't want to miss it. Linda, thank you for sending a link. Yeah. Every one of you that compliments me, there's going to be 3 people that don't like me. So let's keep the community of people that do like me and let's keep growing on. Yeah. Let me see what I like that. 100 compliments sent your way. So that means I'm going to get 10 people that don't like me. Thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful night. I'm out. I'll see you all tomorrow. Love each and every one of you.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?